I think it's difficult when talking about music because I think it can be somewhat of a subjective experience, but it's like the music with the Murray Gold stuff could absolutely be bombastic and it could be a bit intrusive and it could tell you how to feel, but it always felt nicely calculated and mixed in order to complement whichever scene. There are some scenes in which I watch them and I think this could have been as impactful, maybe more impactful, without the music. I think things like maybe his speech at the end of the World, things like the partings of the ways bit is like really quite impactful without the music, because with that you have this really eerie thing where you've been in the TARDIS for this whole time and suddenly you step outside and it's just like ordinary bird sounds, and that's something that you don't get with the musical version because the music is so prominent. But the music is so good that I usually don't mind that much when it's prominent. I think it can be a bit annoying when you start recognising the same tracks over and over again, which is something that I think the Capaldi era particularly struggles with like the Am I a Good Man theme playing like for every single climax. But Murray Gold's music was often beautiful and extremely well composed, and it becomes so iconic in its own right. Like, I don't love Murray Gold's music, but I kind of do because he created so many of these amazing iconic themes, and like, even before I knew what they were, I knew what they were, if that makes sense. So before the Chibnall era shocked me to my core and I really stepped back into Doctor Who and learned what it was and what I was really watching and kind of actually understood the show more than, oh, that thing I like. I knew what Rose's theme was, I knew what Martha's theme was, I knew what Donna's theme was, I knew what so many of these musical pieces were because they were used so carefully and calculatedly throughout the series that, to quote a certain Wisconsin alcoholic, you didn't notice it, but your brain did. And that's why those emotional moments will work sometimes with a Murray Gold theme, because he can bring back the fucking Rose theme and suddenly you feel like you're on the Powell estate, or he can bring that Martha theme in and you feel like the significance of that. And the Chibnall era is like, you have some compositions that can sound nice and some that even have a bit more going for them where you can kind of remember a bit of them, and some that are even quite great.
Are you joking right now?
But there isn't that same relationship, I think, between the musical composition and like the rest of the series. And where it really begins to show is when you have the conflicting tones, and this is something that's been a massive problem for this era, is that like we accuse Murray Gold's music of not letting there be quiet moments, but the Chibnall music is the absolute worst for this because they seem quite literally afraid to have a moment that doesn't have background music. And that's really weird because the background music is there to enhance the mood, of course, but often, more often than not, I find it takes away from it. If you've got a comedic scene, like the start of Can You Hear Me, has what's supposed to be clearly an adventurous, happy scene, and the dialogue is quippy.
Let me back in.
How did you get out there?
See your friend. I say friend, we're not that close.
And yet it's got this like thumping action score over the top.
Let me back in.
How did you get out there?
See your friend. I say friend, we're not that close.
Which just doesn't fit. It's the same in Haunting of Villa Darty, the scene where Polidori, or whatever it's called, is challenging them to a duel, and yet the music is tense, but everyone's acting like it's a goofy music.
Hey, look, I'm not here to fight anyone, alright? So everyone just calm down.
Fletcher, you will be my second. Will Mr. O'Brien be yours?
No.
Cheers, mate.
No, I mean, no.
You don't need tense, thumping sci-fi music.
Hey, look, I'm not here to fight anyone, alright? So everyone just calm down.
Fletcher, you will be my second. Will Mr. O'Brien be yours?
No.
Cheers, mate.
No, I mean, no.
And the one I hate the most, is the stupid emotional pads.
We're family. And I love you.
Albar is being systematically cleansed. Half my family are in hiding.
And Grace should still be here.
Because to me, they just ruin every single minor moment of emotion by making it feel trivial and like put on and forced and dumb.
What's happened to me?
I've travelled a long way. Seen a lot of things I wish I hadn't. My family were killed when I was 7.
people will accuse the Murray Gold stuff of telling you how to feel, and I've explained how I can agree with that to an extent, but the fucking Chibnall music tells you how to feel, man. Like, a character will start talking about something sad that happened, everything will slow down, and then just bland, generically emotional pads will roll in. They're not music, they're just noise that sounds dramatic.
It might kill them. But if we do it, what happens to Earth? Their life versus 7 billion others.
I only ever got a present the once, but I can never forget how it felt.
Every day I'd wake up feeling this. Dread.
I'm sick of this place already.
I know.
Lost my mum 8 years back.
Sometimes they even layer it over the top of action music. They do that in Demons of the Punjab.
People grow up. We all have to find our own way.
Some of us need more guidance than others.
And it just doesn't make the moment, like, you can't take the moment seriously, or at least I can't. I'm taken out of it because I can see the production. And, like, often in scenes, the scenes don't have the right tone, or don't feel like they flow properly, or they don't feel like the music is actually interacting with what people are saying.
One ripple, and history will change in a blink. The future will not be the world you know. The world you came from, the world you were created in, won't exist.
The Ghost Monument has that extended exposition scene in the tent where the music constantly feels like it's going to be building up to the final part of the conversation, and yet they'll just keep talking, so then the music just moves on to like a different part.
Missed what?
Your route trackers are over there. Good luck.
I know you prefer to ignore me, but what is it?
I feel lost. I don't know where I am. It's just frustrating. I hate how the music does this thing where every single scene has to end with like a transitional noise. It's like you can't have a scene feel like a scene that then cuts to a new scene that's elsewhere. Every scene feels like you're watching like a big heist montage where whenever there's a scene transition, you amp up the music and then like you cut to the next scene and it's the characters doing whatever, and it makes it feel like I'm watching this constant building of tension and gearing up montage in a bad way.
If you want different.
So where's it gone? Keep up. Isn't it obvious? And heights.
That kind of thing is fine if you're, let's say, showing a situation where like multiple things are going on at once and you want to have this sense of continuity between scenes. But when you're doing a full program that's 50 minutes long, that's like meant to be a full narrative, you want to have like... You want to have scenes, you want to have breaks in your scenes, you want scenes to feel like scenes, you don't want it to feel like one big montage, and that's what things like Can You Hear Me do, and I just hate it so much. This is the problem that I think a lot of people have with the Segun Akinola music, whether or not they realise it, is that even if it's not compositionally like defunct or devoid of creativity, the way it's used in the series is usually counterintuitive to the tone of scenes, and therefore just doesn't serve its purpose as like accompanying music to like properly immerse you in the story. It's distracting and more often than not that interesting. Like, it pulls your attention to it, but unlike Murray Gold stuff, which is at least interesting, it's just kind of bland. I mean, I think honestly Murray Gold's work on the series has been some of... I just think it's kind of incredible, like the music he made. I think we're so lucky that we had him. Like, I did get a bit tired of, I think, having him be the sound of the show for so long. I think you just began to take it for granted almost. You were like, yeah, that's the sound of modern Doctor Who, it's big and bombastic. But when you take time to appreciate what the fuck he did, it's like, no, like, we had some of the best music potentially in like television, at least for like television of that caliber, for years. And I think changing something like Segun, like, I know people defend him, and like, I'm here to say like, hey, look, like, I like ambience music. One of my favorite Doctor Who soundtracks is the soundtrack to the Daleks, as in like the original Daleks by like Tristram Carey, which sounds, it's amazing. It's so creepy and it's so ominous and it has such a wonderful distinct sound to it. And I think this could be that listening to the Daleks has therefore influenced this for me, but I love how the city music sounds exactly like I imagine a futuristic alien city would sound if I found an abandoned alien city. It's got this weird kind of like, it's like you're hearing like emeralds. That doesn't make any sense, but it's like I hear the glistening technology of the city when I hear those tracks from the Daleks, and it's wonderful and it's enchanting. That's fascinating ambience that provokes something. The generic Akinola ambience most of the time just doesn't do that. It just sounds like someone's stuck out a big like pad or like an arpeggio or something and just been like, play sequence, just drag it out for however many bars, smash it in the background. Yeah, that's how I feel about the music.